welcome to Solve This Murder. I am your public domain detective, Bill.
And I am your fair use crime scene, criminal, witnesses, assistant detectives, rival detectives, because this story has everything, Dani.
This is a new mystery. I hope you're all prepared.
New is very much in inverted commas there.
For us, this is
this
for
is
me.
not newly created by any means.
So this is, I believe, the second time we've done this for this show, which is we are tackling an old Agatha Christie story. We recently did The Mysterious Affair at Styles. Is that what it's called?
Yep. And the more and more time goes by, the more of them creep into the public domain.
It's brought in.
And we're
it's
finding
here.
the ones that you haven't read.
I've never read this. The Murder on the Links. I'm assuming it's about golf because the links is
Links is just golf.
A term for
it's
a golf
either golf
course?
or sausages.
Oh, it could be a murder about sausages. And I'm taking on the detective role for this one. This mystery will be however long it is. We don't know yet. We haven't finished recording it. We haven't started recording it.
I have turned this 28-chapter book into 5 pages of notes, so
Well, let's
that
see how it
sounds
works.
concise.
And then after this one, we'll be back to a mystery written by me and run by me, which is in the works. But we figured, why wait? Let's do a public domain murder mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we get started, is there anything that we need to cover going in? I feel like last time we did one of these, I took on the role of Poirot, and you had Hastings as a friendly
I didn't
character.
quite remember that, but for this one, it very much feels like the way to do it is for you to be Hastings, Poirot to maybe have little bits of input, but not as much as you might think.
All right,
I think you can handle this one largely on your own.
I'm better off taking on the role of Hastings because I think it more accurately fits my ability to solve a crime.
You might say that. Oh boy, does Hastings have some clunkers in this one, in my opinion.
As will I. I am nothing if not a man with clunkers. I don't know how much we need to do to get into this. Just a reminder to everybody, I hope you're enjoying. If you're a fan of the show and you found this episode, spread the word. I know we have fairly intermittent releases of new mysteries, so you should always let people know. Jump online, shout it out at the rooftops, let people know there's a new mystery. You'll know already how many parts the mystery is, so get prepared for X number of weeks of enjoyment.
The more popular this show gets, the more pressure we're on to keep releasing stuff.
That is true. But look, as promised, we're getting back into it, so this is the new mystery. Also, for people who are listening, just before we get into it, we don't often mention it on this show in the way we do on our other shows, but we have a Patreon. If you want to help support the show, I won't talk much about it because let's get into a mystery, but we have an entire bonus series of us solving small little lateral thinking mystery, murder, crime puzzles, which has been going on for like 60-something episodes now, I think, that you can get access to if you join the Patreon. There are badges that get sent out and all this other fun stuff, as well as a sort of pick-a-path adventure novel that Dani has been writing. There's a whole bunch of fun stuff in there. So if you want to help support the show, if you want to get more things and fun extra projects and bonus shows, go and check it out. There's a new episode released every week over on the Patreon.
But
That
in the
being
meantime...
said, I think we're ready to get started.
All right. So I don't know exactly how clear we've made this character of Arthur Hastings to everyone. So let's just spend a bit of time getting you into character first.
Okay.
So let's say you've recently been working in Paris. You recovered from your war injuries quite some time ago.
World War One.
Indeed.
I think.
And you've done some secretarial work for an MP. He's recently been working in Paris, so you've been doing some scribes there. Pretty boring stuff,
And for our
really.
American audience, that's a member of Parliament.
Sure.
And Parliament is like the lower house.
Now, you're on the train back. Did the Channel exist yet? It probably didn't. You're on a train. No, you're not, because they're on a train to Calais to get on a boat.
This is pre-Channel.
Wow.
I'm leaving France to get on a boat back to England.
To go and see your friend Poirot, who is residing, that's the word, in London at the moment.
My ex-Belgian police private detective, Poirot.
Very
now you're all caught up,
impressive.
everybody at home.
And let's just see how you handle situations. You're in your carriage. Sitting opposite you is a girl. She's about 17, maybe?
I'm in a train carriage.
Yes.
Good. I say, what? How are you? Good to get back to jolly old England, right?
She is going to look at you with a look that sort of embarrasses you, as an, oh my god, he's old, sort of way.
I'm so old.
Her face is extremely covered in makeup. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, look, if I'm an Agatha Christie novel...
Yes, you are Hastings.
I'm Hastings. He's probably like, what a young freak. What a weirdo covering herself in makeup like all the young girls nowadays.
Yes, it's a pity, really.
It's a pity, really. She's disguising God's natural beauty.
How about the next thing she does? She looks out the window as your carriage is starting to leave the station, and she sighs and she goes, "Oh, hell."
What an improper young lady. Swearing.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
ridiculous.
So we're establishing that Hastings is a prude.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, he's a British man from, 1920 or something, so we're fine.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually she notices your drastic offense to what's going on and laughs. She gives you a bit of a conversation. She throws you a bone and talks to you a little bit. Turns out she's saying hell because her sister was meant to get on the train and just ditched her. And starts talking to you a little bit about your job. She asks what you do.
What do I do? I'm retired.
I just told you.
Oh, I'm a
I
secretary.
literally just told you.
For people who are playing along at home, expect more of this. I'm a secretary for a member of parliament.
She goes, "Oh, wow. That's a really boring life. I'm so sorry that you don't do anything more interesting."
I did something more interesting, young lady,
Oh.
years ago
Mm-hmm.
in the war.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm
that
paying
kind
for
of
it now.
that kind of sucks. In fact, the train rolls through one of the battlefields.
I saw good men die out there, young lady.
She notices your expression as you do
I'm
that.
haunted.
Well, anything else going on in your life that's more interesting now?
Yeah, I'll tell her about Poirot.
Yep.
I say, I've got a very cool friend.
You do like showing off a little bit.
and
It's
he
hard to
needs me.
resist.
He thinks, you've read in the paper he solves all those cases. Haha, not without Mr. Hastings here.
This
Am I
is-
getting accurate to how the book is going?
It's not too far off. It's
All right,
pretty
I've got
good.
a good read on the character, I think.
She is super into that, though. She is, apparently things haven't changed. She is big into true crime.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And she starts to talk about her job, and she tells you she's an actress, but not that kind of actress.
What? Wait, what does that mean?
Not-
Not that kind of actress?
Not like, oh, big fancy having people take my photo on stage being interviewed by the papers. No, she and her sister are like a child, almost vaudevillian tumbling act.
That's exactly. You know what? When you said that kind of actress, that's the kind of actress I pictured.
But yeah,
Wait, she and her sister have a vaudeville tumbling act
her
together?
sister and she had an act that couldn't flop.
She's Velma Kelly. Oh my gosh. Okay. She is a Velma Kelly type, is what I'm writing in here.
So you just keep chatting, and by the time the train arrives at the station, you offer to escort her onto the boat and to take her over while she's on there because, that channel, it's a rough trip.
God, man, Hastings is a
She
loser.
laughs at you and says no.
Yeah, please. She's a vaudeville tumbler, Hastings. She can stand on a ship, you freak.
And that's the last of that. So this is just your nice character introduction to Hastings.
Probably won't come back at all later on in
Can't
the story.
imagine so.
No, it's probably just a fully self-contained little adventure. Okay.
All right, now you make your way into London and you go to visit your friend Poirot.
Yep.
He says how terrible your boat trip must have been because that channel, it's a rough journey.
Oh, mon ami, I hope you held on to any little girls there. I hope you stopped them falling over.
Yeah, he hates boat travel, he hates air travel, he hates all of it. But he's also bemoaning the fact that things have been a little boring lately. And so you very kindly say, well, have you checked your post this morning? Maybe you'll have a letter about some big exciting case.
Sure, okay.
And Poirot says, yeah, sure, what are the odds?
And sounds like the odds are pretty high.
And you go and you find a letter. He finds a letter and he says, Madam wants me to look for her cat. Nope. And he throws that one away. But then there is a second letter. And you can read this one.
Now, everybody, Dani told me that he threw away a letter about a woman trying to help. I don't know if this is set dressing or whether later in the story it's going to be incredibly relevant. No, wait a minute. A missing cat. Oh my God. So I can't take Dani's note from her until I finish writing down that a woman wanted Poirot to find her cat. Asking to find cat. Okay. Let's look. Can I read this letter? Villa Genevieve, Merlinville.
It's hard to know how to Frenchly pronounce Merlinville, isn't it?
It just says Merlinville.
It's Merlinville.
Like Merlin the Wizard, Ville, Merlinville-sur-Mer.
Yeah, Merlinville-sur-Mer, which is by the sea.
By the sea. Or above the sea? Sur? Like, probably above the sea.
I don't know.
Sur-Mer, France. Let me try that again, everybody. Villa Genevieve, Merlinville-sur-Mer, France.
There will be some very questionable pronunciations throughout this mystery.
If you speak French,
Sorry.
go home. Dear Sir, I am in need of the services of a detective and, for reasons which I will give you later, do not wish to call in the official police. I have heard of you from several quarters, and all reports go to show that you are not only a man of decided ability, but one who also knows how to be discreet. I do not wish to trust details to the post, but on account of a secret I possess, I go in daily fear of my life. I am convinced that the danger is imminent, and therefore I beg that you will lose no time in crossing to France. I will send a car to meet you at Calais, if you will wire me when you are arriving. I shall be obliged if you will drop all cases you have on hand and devote yourself solely to my interests. I am prepared to pay any compensation necessary. I shall probably need your services for a considerable period of time, as it may be necessary for you to go out to Santiago, where I spent several years of my life. I shall be content for you to name your own fee, assuring you once more that the matter is urgent. Yours faithfully, P.T. Renaud. Renaud?
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 Renaud. I have to know.
Thereabouts.
How do you pronounce Renauld? Is it Renaud? Is it Renaud?
I would probably say Renaud, maybe with a little d at the end that you can't really hear.
Renaud.
But French was not one of my languages, so I'm just guessing.
Isabelle Renaud.
Yeah, I'm not saying Renaud every time.
But it's Renaud, effectively. Or Renaud.
We'll take
Renaud.
it. We'll use our
Petit
pitiful anglicised R's.
We'll stick with Renaud. We'll just get the right shape without the correct. I'm not speaking French. Now, I'm going to assume that Poirot says, given that we've just been had a little conversation about how much he hates travel, he might send Hastings in his stead. To be like, ugh, travel, and just send me.
Let's take a look. He gives it a look. And he hands it back to you and says, "Did you notice the postscript?"
I didn't notice the postscript.
Yeah.
Man,
right.
I'm so bad.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. Down the bottom, below the signature, there is a much more hastily scrawled line. It's barely legible. And it says, "For God's sake, come."
For God's sake, come. Does it look, and it's just written by hand. The rest of the letter is like typed up.
No, the rest is also handwritten. In
So
fact,
this is a different script? Or
no,
the same?
it looks like the same person's handwriting. It's just the rest was controlled. It was neat. It was
Interesting.
orderly. This is a very different mood.
That's like, he wrote the first letter thinking, there's something going on. And then something must have happened for him to be like, no, seriously, you have to come.
Yeah, the normal one was polite, not urgent enough.
That's really interesting. So, does Poirot want to, does he want to
Well,
leave?
That has definitely interested Poirot. And, you know what, to be honest, you were kind of hoping that he might send you on your own. You've just been to France. You're comfortable with the area. You can do this thing on your own.
Yeah, come on, deputise me.
A little bit bothered that he feels the need to come as well. But, you know, whatever. He does say, like, Renaud does say that it's a matter of privacy and discretion and things. So it makes sense that you could only possibly go if Poirot was there as well. You guess.
I suppose that's true.
Mm.
Yeah, no one wants to send a letter to Poirot and get Hastings arriving on the scene.
Yeah. Now, you have a think.
This is how everybody feels when they email us and I respond instead of you.
What? You have a think about it. That name, P.T. Renaud,
P.T. Renaud.
it strikes you. You've heard that before somewhere. It feels...
He is like a P.T. Barnum style character. He's the richest man in France.
You wouldn't go that far, but he is definitely a rich businessman.
Wait, I have clues. He owns a golf course.
You don't know anything about it being a golf course.
No, but I have clues to help Hastings guess.
Okay.
Does he own a golf course?
Not exactly.
All right, sure.
He's a super rich dude. You don't think that he's French. You get the feeling maybe you've heard he was actually like French Canadian or something by birth. But, you know,
Oh,
he
fun.
made a fortune in South America. And now he just has properties all over the places. He's got a home and a holiday home in England and just recently bought in France, like super recently, weeks ago.
Okay. He did mention Santiago as being somewhere where he had made money.
This is very true. But anyway, yeah, so very simply, you get right back on the boat to France.
Ugh. Is there at least a young vaudeville actress to keep me company on the boat ride?
You get Poirot.
Damn. All right, I'm returning to France to find the mysterious Mr. P.T. Renaud.
Yeah, so you've done a bit of research into where you're going, this Molinville-sur-Mer. On the trip, you do a bit of reading about it. It seems like it's a quiet seaside area where typically, it's for rich English people to buy some holiday property.
Okay, sure.
That tends to be who goes there.
Is that why it's called Merlinville?
Maybe.
Because the Brits love Merlin?
You get off the boat, you arrive at Calais, and you wait. You were told in that letter that a car would be sent for you.
Yeah.
And you did everything right. You wired him.
We
and all.
wired ahead the time?
Of course. No car.
Interesting. No car arrives.
Yeah, just no car.
Can I
It's a bit annoying, but you figure maybe it got lost in transmission. Who knows?
Sure. I'm sure that happens sometimes. Like, I'm assuming if I ask around, there's no one who's like, yes, the cars all wait over here.
Yeah, nobody specifically knows anything in that way, but they do
people
say...
know where P.T. Renault lives?
Well, you're in Calais at the moment. You're still a fair distance away.
Ah.
You are not in Merlinville yet.
Oh, okay.
But because you're in Calais, it's a pretty decent-sized town. It's very easy to get a hire car should you want to take your own. And it seems like a fair decision.
I'll grab a hire car.
Great.
Unless there's a bus. Did buses exist in France in 1920?
Didn't buses exist in ancient Rome? Wasn't that the whole point?
Yeah, they
Flintstoned it.
They Flintstoned the buses around. Let's go. Let's jump on let's get our own car. Though that is worrying that he didn't send a car.
Yeah, nothing too wild for the trip. It takes you a couple of hours. That's how big France is, I assume. You go along the seaside. It's absolutely gorgeous. You drive past there's a couple of neighboring towns, and then you get to Merlinville, the main little town, and the rich people properties are a little further up the hill. They got to get the view.
Sure. Well, let's head up the hill
So
to the rich people
you follow the
town.
road to those ones. Eventually, you follow the signs that seem to be going in the right direction towards Villa Genevieve. All right. You see a fork in the road coming up.
Poirot, I found a clue. I jump out and I pick up the fork. The murderer must have been eating cake here on the road.
See, you interrupted me too early, Billy. The problem is...
It is a fork in the road?
Right before the fork in the road is a big gate.
Damn, I can't get to the fork. That was our first clue. Okay, so the road splits after a big gate.
Yes, there is a big gate. So there are a couple of villas there. So it must be, there are some holiday places that are almost like complexes where you got multiple properties inside the one clunk.
Yep, sure.
You know, rich people stuff. This all makes sense.
Yeah, it's like a gated community.
A
Almost.
little, but yeah, with only 2 properties on it. Because the left fork goes to a pretty small, it's a villa, sure, but it's much more modest looking. The other one, you can only barely see because the hill keeps going up and all you can see are the little tips of roof. But based on how the hill has curved, you can tell it must be a pretty gigantor house.
Great. I have written in my notes, left modest villa, right hilltop mansion.
Mm-hmm. And you're just wondering what to do because this is before the days of intercoms. And out of the small villa, a young woman steps out. She is super gorgeous. She is just like long flowing blonde hair, picture of a beautiful girl on a lovely French Riviera holiday. She looks at you and presumably in a French accent that I'm not going to do, asks if you need any help.
So she's come out of the modest villa?
Yes.
Oh, yes, miss, please. We're here to see Mr. Renault. Could you possibly let him know that we're here? Or perhaps you could open the gate yourself?
Yeah, sure, come in. And she just
easy.
opens it right up here and says, cool, so you want the other one? It's right up the hill. You can't really see it from here, but you'll know it when you get to it. There is another gate on the way up.
Oh, thank you so
Once
much.
you get to
And
the very top.
what was your name, miss?
Marta.
Marta. You said that like I spelled it with an E at the end.
You're correct.
Oh,
Marthe.
oh, Marv.
I mean,
Her name's Marv.
look, this is true. My language learning background is largely German. I don't know how that's going to go in French.
Marv.
It might be Marthe.
Yeah, if I know anything
No.
about French, which I don't, it's that you should ignore all the consonants and half the vowels.
Yep.
It's just M. Her name is M.
Nah.
Well, thank you so much, Marta. We'll just make her German. Marta.
Sure.
Do you live here in the villa?
Yep.
Do you know anything about the terrible things that have been happening to Mr. Renaud? I'm going to call him Mr. Barnum at some point. To Renaud?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Did you do it?
Did I do what?
Okay. I don't know. It's a good first step. Poirot's looking at me weird, but I think it's a good first step. Maybe they'll just admit to something. I don't need to find the clues if they just tell me the crimes.
She goes back inside a little
Yeah, fair
awkwardly,
enough.
and Poirot goes, man, did you see the fear in her eyes when you started saying that stuff? Not like, I did it fear, just, who is this man fear? But anyway, you keep driving back up to the top, and sure enough, you reach one more gate, And unfortunately, you get stopped at this gate because while it is open, there is a person standing in the way, dressed in a police uniform.
Oh, what? Police at the house?
He stops
Officer,
your car.
what's going on?
Says, I'm sorry. Wait, hang on. I recognize you. Not you.
Oh.
Not Englishman. But he totally recognizes Poirot. He goes, "Oh, you were coming here to visit Mr. Renault? That's not going to be possible.
Oh no.
He was murdered last night."
Oh, come on! I turn to Poirot. I say, Poirot, do you remember when I said you needed to pack your bag quickly? And then you just said, no, mon ami, everything must be packed with precision and in the correct places. You cannot put your winter coat on top of your winter pants. No, it must go on top of your summer coat. And you spent 2 days, 2 full days packing your bag? Look where that's got us, Poirot.
Man, you got here bright and early. It's only like 10:30, 11 a.m. You did what you could. And you're still too late. You still stuffed it.
Too late. I wonder how long that letter had been sitting in his mailbox.
Yeah, awkward.
You
You
it was
mentioned
dated
that
3 months ago.
the policeman actually says, "Wait, did you just say letter? Like, what letter are we talking about?"
I look at the policeman and I squint my eyes. How guilty does he look? Does
Not
he have a
very.
bloody knife in his hands?
Not so much. Not
Is
so
he
much.
holding a smoking gun?
He's extremely innocent
Okay.
to the point where he won't get a name,
All right, then I will say.
which is quite something. A lot of the police get names in this one.
I will say. Yes, we had a letter from Mr. Renault asking us to come and help.
Sure.
He said that I can't even remember what he said. To be honest, he said that he was in danger.
But he knew something was going to happen.
He implied. He didn't give many specifics.
Oh, that's really weird.
Why? How did he die?
You know what? I'm going to get the lead
No,
detective.
tell me!
No, I'm going to get him to let you in on this
Oh, cool.
because you have just confused me a little bit.
Good.
Maybe it makes sense to them up there.
All right, let's head up.
You head up.
It sounds like if the policeman's confused, I'm expecting a crime of passion or something or an accident or something that you would in no way think could be premeditated.
Yeah. All right. Now, there are a buttload of officials here, so I'm just going to, maybe I won't even bother giving you a name. One of them was Monsieur Bex. We can just make him the police, if you like.
If that works easily.
That's one of
for you.
them. He's the only one whose name I remember off the top of my head and could pronounce easily. I don't think there's any way I could screw up B-E-X.
Monsieur Bex.
So he...
Oh, in French, that's B.
Yeah. So you head up. Oh boy, palace. Beautiful place. You walk up presumably marble steps into the main room.
A main room, a huge atrium, a giant glass onion sits upon the top of the mansion.
And you find Mr. Bex, who is in charge of everything. He again recognizes you, greets you warmly, says, "Oh boy, I will happily take your help with this. I'm a big fan, Poirot."
Oh, Poirot. No one's a Hastings fan. Mr. Bex, or Monsieur Bex, what happened here? P.T. Barnum has... it's going to get me every time. P.T. Renault has been murdered?
Yeah, this is really quite a strange case. So there's a golf course off to the northwest of the house. We go a little bit further. Yeah, and it's still in the making. They haven't quite finished it off yet. They were going to open it up to the public, get a little bit of money in from it, but they haven't finished creating it yet. It was meant to be open in like a month or so. So 9 o'clock this morning, the landscapers came in to do work, and they stumbled across a very peculiar scene in one of the spots where they were meant to start digging a bunker. Well, they discovered Mr. Renault's body, stabbed between the shoulder blades, dead instantly,
Yep.
in an open grave.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah, someone killed him and started to bury him and didn't get very far.
Okay, hold on. I gotta make some notes. Landscapers came in at 9 a.m. They saw the body in an open grave.
Mm-hmm.
Was the knife in his back?
Yes.
So we still have the knife.
Oh, yeah, so in good time, we'll be able to get to that and I'll be able to show you everything. Now, he had about...
Now, did they ever turn him over? Do we know that it's P.T. Renault?
Yes, at some
Okay.
point that has happened.
At some
Yes.
point you turned his... Okay, good.
We have, the photographers have already been there, so we've moved the body somewhere a little bit more private in the meantime. But yes, well, you know what? We haven't actually done the official, IDing yet, but yeah. There's no doubt. Okay, there is very little doubt it's him, but I suppose I'm a policeman. We should make sure of these things. We'll ask the wife. Anyway, the doctor that we've brought on says that they reckon by the time they got to examine him about an hour later, 7 to 10 hours. At least 7 hours dead, at most 10 hours dead. So somewhere between midnight, 3 a.m.
Yeah, because they
examined him at 10 a.m.
and it's 7 to 10 hours.
Yep,
so.
yep. Which fits with Mrs. Renault's testimony, Madame Renault. Her testimony places the events at around 2 a.m.
Oh, really? I'm assuming I should talk to her to get her testimony?
Well...
Or could you give me the heads up?
I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. We were just about to interview some of the servants who were involved in bits and pieces and had something to say. We would love to get the wife's testimony, but she's in a bit of a state.
Well, fair enough, man. Her husband just died.
You don't know.
Or is she like, is her state, is she going like, whoa, I did it. I got the gold.
See, you don't know the half of it yet.
Okay, go on.
Here's what we know from the servants so far. We haven't interviewed them properly yet, but here's what we've got. We've got Francoise. Came downstairs, as usual. She found the front door to the house open. Very unusual, but apparently she figured since nothing had been stolen down here, Mr. Renault must have just gone out for an early walk. Not really something he was in the habit of doing, but as she put it, English people are kind of weird.
Fair enough, we are, said Hastings, standing on his head.
So she went about her duties as normal. Meanwhile, another servant, Leonie, had upstairs duties, and she went into the Renault's bedroom, where she found Mrs. Renault gagged and bound on the floor.
What? Oh my gosh, this murder mystery.
And that was about exactly the same time that the body was discovered. So again, she went straight to work at 9 a.m. And all she got out of Mrs. Renault, who was absolutely hysterical and barely conscious, she was really quite in pain from all of this
gagged
for several hours.
Fair enough.
All she could get out was that there were 2 masked men. But then as soon as the doctor got here, sedated her right away. She'll hopefully recover soon and be able to give her testimony. I don't know. Give it at least an hour. So yeah, this is quite something.
I have so many notes, everybody. Usually when we do these, the setup is so...
Tenuous?
No, it's so, like, short, right? Like, it is just, here's a murder, arrive, go. And then I can paste my own notes. But with these public domain ones, like, stuff just... There's so much more stuff that just happens, and I'm trying to keep up. I've got a page full of notes already.
And I want to make
I've
sure that
got a fifth of Dani's notes written.
I want to make sure that you have plenty of agency for this, which is
sort
why...
of got to get through the intro.
Yeah, exactly. But that is why, at this stage, I think that you can start asking your own questions.
I turn to the police officer. Did you do it?
Excuse me?
Did you murder him?
This is not how things are done here.
I'm ruling you out. Did you do it?
Please rule me out.
I'm circling him.
Yeah, the one whose name I arbitrarily gave you.
Oh, you say that. You say it was arbitrary, but I know that you only know the murderer's name.
Yeah.
So let me just do a quick recap for everybody listening along at home, because maybe you're doing something else and you want to keep on track. And also it helps me. We got a letter from P.T. Renault. He says, hey, it's pretty bad. I can't give you any details, but I definitely need your help for a fair amount of time. You know what? He didn't mention that he was going to get murdered, did he? He just said he needed Poirot's help. And the investigation would be for a long time. It may take him to Santiago. It may take him away. That does not sound like a man who, when he initially wrote this, who thought there was an imminent danger to his life.
I'm sorry to have to dispel you there.
Please
I do not
me.
wish to trust details to the post, but on account of the secret I possess, I go in daily fear of my life.
You're right.
I am convinced that danger is imminent.
Okay. When I said he wasn't convinced of imminent danger, he's convinced of imminent danger. So he's like, okay, someone might kill me. I have a secret. I got to write this down. I didn't write down much of this because I figured I had the letter on hand, but I should make some notes here.
You're welcome to. I think just you've covered
make
that.
a note. Daily fear has secret. Okay, so that's like, and then he says, for God's sake, come. Written after the initial writing of the letter. So something exacerbated his fear. Something made him more afraid, but we don't know what. We'll discover this as we go. We arrive. A woman lets us in. Her name is Marta. But what we know about the murder is he was killed sometime between midnight and 3 a.m., stabbed in the back, thrown into an open grave, which is wild. His wife was bound and gagged. He was discovered by the landscapers. The wife was discovered by a servant named Leonie. And Francoise found out nothing. She just went to the door and went, "The door's open," and then went about her business.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, thanks. And that's it. I'm let loose. I'm ready to go. I don't think I've missed anything.
No.
How do I start this investigation?
I'll try to not to nudge without just forcing you.
It would make sense. Can I talk to the landscapers, or are they gone?
They have gone. They've just given a statement. They didn't really have a huge amount to say. It was exactly as...
I mean, their statement is basically just, we found him stabbed.
Yeah.
Great. So I should talk to the two servants. I can't quite yet talk to Miss...
She'll let you know when she's ready.
Because she's been sedated.
Mm-hmm.
Is the doctor here?
The doctor is here, yeah.
Maybe I should talk to the doctor, get
Sure.
a bit more info about the death. I don't know what he can give me. A man with a giant stab wound in his back probably was stabbed in the back. But
Yeah.
let's start there.
He can basically, I've already forgotten his name, Dr. D, I'm pretty sure. He pretty much confirms exactly what you already know. Again, time of death, around that.
Yep, midnight to 3.
Exactly. It was likely very instantaneous, likely just a complete surprise. No struggle, nothing like that. Just really caught off guard in the middle of the night on the golf course or whatever.
You say it seemed like a surprise. He doesn't have any like defensive wounds
Not
on his
at
hands.
all.
He doesn't seem like he fought back.
No, nothing at all.
Have you checked to see whether he's got secrets carved in his skin?
Oh,
or
dear.
He's eaten a little piece of paper.
That's beyond my jurisdiction.
Oh, man. You got to help me with these murders, doctor. So I don't think I'm going to get anything new from the doctor.
Nah.
It's like, this is not a poisoning case. This is not a weird murder. It's fairly clear the mechanism of the murder.
I mean, look, at some point, you can check the body yourself to see if you're satisfied with that, but I guarantee you will be satisfied with that.
Can we see the knife?
It is also with the body, so we're up to...
Oh, so that'll be I have to go off and find the body at some point. So
Yeah,
I won't do that
it's-
yet. Because I'd love to know, like, for example, it'd be a difference if, like, the knife were missing from the... Like, it matched the knives in this house. Or there's a lot of information, I think, but the body is not here. I'm still here in the moment. There's stuff to do. I can go to the body afterwards. I know I want to talk to the two servants. I know that Madame Renaud is...
Incapacitated?
Incapacitato. Is there anyone else in the house to talk to? Like, the landscapers have left. The servants are here. Is there anybody else if I'm making a list?
The policeman picks up his notebook and he goes, we did take a list of the residents of this house. We had Mr. and Mrs. Renaud themselves. Jack Renaud, the son... no, that's no good. He hasn't been home for a couple of weeks. Francoise, we got Leonie and not the chauffeur. Mr. Renaud sent him on holiday yesterday, so he wasn't here either. No, okay, I guess you've covered everyone. Well done.
Interesting. So there's a son, but he's not been here for weeks?
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to exactly how long, but no, he's been working in Paris or something.
Interesting. And the chauffeur, he sent him away?
Yeah, apparently.
Do you know when?
Yesterday.
Now that's weird, because he promised us he would send the chauffeur to get us.
That is very weird. That is so weird that the book has a chapter end on that revelation.
Ooh, but we don't. I've still got some people to talk to, but hold on a second. The chauffeur, P.T. Renaud, sent him away yesterday.
That's what I have been told, yes. He specifically said, we called the chauffeur to find out his location, and he said that Mr. Renaud had told him he wasn't going to be near the car for a while, take a holiday.
Do you think that we would have already sent our message to him to say, hey, we're arriving in Calais? Like, would he have known we were coming when he sent this guy away?
Based on what my knowledge of the French postal system is, he would have definitely messaged you already. Whether or not he got a message back from you, unclear.
Interesting. Yeah, you're right. I'm not quite sure, but that is strange. He knew he was waiting on and would have needed the chauffeur.
That is
That
odd.
is strange. All right, I might have to talk to that chauffeur one day. Or maybe it just hints some other change in his mindset. He keeps having these different, come help me. No, definitely come help me. And then he's like, well, now I'm going to send the driver away. I don't want Poirot to come help me. Maybe he didn't send him away. Did the chauffeur say Mr. Renaud? Maybe Jack does a good impression of his father. Maybe Jack can just be like, oh, it's me, my father. I mean, me. Okay. Well, that's good to know. But I still only have the two servants to talk to. I'm going to talk to some servants.
Let's do it.
Okay. Let us talk to the boring one.
Which, the one who did nothing.
The one who went, I came to the door,
Sure,
and then
sure.
I saw it was open. Bye. I'm
right.
done. Francois.
Not going with the Francois accents, going with Anglais accents.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. If you want to say, I came to the door is
Absolutely
open.
not. That
If you want to
will
do a little
infuriate
Madeline
me.
voice.
Nope.
Something. I came to the door and I thought, something is not right.
Yeah, Francois is an older servant.
Yep.
He goes, hello, yes, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have of me.
Could you tell me more about what happened last night?
I have no idea what happened last night is the problem.
Okay, yeah, sure. I was asking for your recollections. You arrived at 9 a.m.?
No, I sleep in the house.
Oh, you sleep in the house?
We have servants' quarters here. Yes, just off the first floor landing. We don't start working. We don't work all through the night, you understand.
How far are you in your sleeping quarters from the Renault's bedroom?
Oh, well, they're a whole story away from us.
So if there was a struggle in the bedroom, you wouldn't have heard it? It wouldn't have woken you up?
Well, I didn't hear anything, so I suppose not.
Interesting. When was the last time you did a hearing test?
Excuse me?
I said, when was the last time?
Yes, that wasn't the kind of excuse me I meant.
Oh, good. She could hear me when I whispered. Hey, Francois, you suck.
I have worked at this property for 11 years. You think I could do that without hearing?
Okay, just checking.
Insolent
I'm
English
just checking.
boy.
You said you were an old lady. You said it was
I said I was older.
You said it was an ancient, decrepit old woman with a big horn coming out of her ear going, what was that, Sonny? So I just thought maybe there was an issue with her hearing.
I'll have you know I have great references from the Viscountess who last owned this place. I won't have such words from you.
Did you work here back before
11 years, yes.
Interesting.
And these
11
Renaults,
years.
they've only been actually officially moved in for 6 weeks.
They've only lived here for 6 weeks?
Yes. They bought slightly earlier than that in the spring, but it is currently early June.
I did know that he'd only recently bought this house.
Hmm.
And so you've worked here, not with the Renaults. You've worked in the...
Correct. I come with the house.
You come with the house. God, isn't that sad? Do you feel like property?
I mean, no, I got a choice in the matter. I was
but
willing to
still.
stay with the house. I chose the house
You chose
over the Viscountess.
Oh, was that an insult when the Viscountess when the Viscountess left and you were like, no, I was here
Not
for the
at
house,
all,
not for
at
you?
all. She moved to Tasmania or something. Ugh.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like that seems like maybe you had a terrible relationship with her.
Never.
She moved out. She's like, and you'll come with us, of course. You went, what do you mean?
Nope.
I love the house.
It was perfect, but a woman of my years deserves the French Riviera.
Aha, you are old. Can you hear anything? Okay. So you woke up at night and you went to check the front door?
Sure.
Is this your normal duties?
Yes, my normal duties are to just go around, dusting, the usual. But obviously, as soon as I came down the stairs, I could see that the front door was open.
Interesting. And that's not usual, obviously.
Of course not. That's absurd.
And so you went straight to the front door and...
Yes, it's visible from the staircase, so it was quite within view.
That
And
sounds like everybody, that sounds like a clue. You know when someone says something and it sounds like a clue? When someone's like, let me just make a point of saying the door is visible from the staircase. You're like, oh, that's a clue. I'm writing that down.
I mean, I would argue that this is the case in many households.
Hey, I'm not the one who said it in such a clue-like manner, lady.
But anyway, as soon as I saw that, I panicked. This is a very rich neighborhood. The occasional burglar would not be... It's not common, you understand,
Oh, of
and it
course
would
not,
be
of course
very
not.
unexpected, but these things cross your mind. There are attempts every now and again in certain areas.
Have there been attempts in your 11-year tenure
No,
at this
not
house?
here. We've
Okay.
been very good. But of course, you read things in the papers. It worried me. I immediately thought we must have had a burglary through the night. So I went, I looked in the dining room, I looked in the kitchen. All of the silverware was exactly where it was supposed to be. So I began to think of more innocent explanations.
Hey,
Mhm.
quick question.
Mhm.
You said all the silverware was where it
Yes.
should be. Did you check the big giant kitchen knives?
Not specifically.
Have you
but
since?
Yes, that everything is where it's supposed to be.
Okay, thank you. There's obviously not much more for you to say about this morning. Do you remember anything from last night before you went to bed? Was there any... Did PT Renault walk around the house being like, someone's going to stab me this evening? And you didn't think he meant anything, but you thought he was being like figurative with his language or something like that?
Well, far from it.
No one's going to stab me this evening!
I mean, no, there was nothing particularly unusual about his mood. So, first of all, it's my job to lock the front door at night, and I did so at 10:30,
Oh,
as
sure.
usual. I did so.
Sure, no, of course you did.
I then went up to bed very shortly after. Mrs. Renault and Leonie were already in bed. Mr. Renault was not. He was still in his study. But he did not shout. He did not cry. I didn't even hear him
Pout? And I'm telling you why. Sorry.
Mr. Renault was in his study. He was still up, not for much longer, but he wasn't making any particular noise. He wasn't agitated. He didn't even have anyone to talk to. His last guest left at 10:25.
Oh, did you see them leave?
Yes.
And who was said guest?
Well, if you must know, this is where the pronunciation game gets fun. It was Mrs. Dubrow. Madame Dubrow from the lower villa.
D-U-B-R?
D-A-U.
What? What?
I showed you this one.
Okay.
D-A-U.
Yep.
B-R.
B-R.
E-U.
E-U.
I-L.
I-L.
Dubroy, maybe?
Dubois?
Dubroy? Let's go with Dubroy.
Dalbroil.
I'm going to go with Dubroy.
I'm going to say
from now on.
Dalbroil. Madame Dubroy? Sorry, everybody, but you got the spelling. D-A-U-B-R-E-U-I-L. Madame or Mademoiselle? Don't know yet.
No, it was Madame.
Okay, Madame Dubroy. So she left at 10:25.
Yes.
Is she a scandalous wanton woman?
Hmm.
Or something of the kind? To be in a man's study at 10:25 p.m.?
I will say I consider her somewhat of a bad one.
Interesting. Why is that?
Because of things like that. It's not the first time.
Does she have a vaudeville act with her sister?
No.
Okay, just checking. So she left at 10:25. You saw her
You
leave?
know that she's like 50, right?
You think you can't do vaudeville when you're 50? Yeah, so she left at 10:25.
Yes,
You
that's
saw her
true.
out? You saw her leave?
Well, I didn't see her out. Mr. Renault saw her out. But
Okay.
yes, she left.
All right, lovely. And then you went to bed and he was still awake when you went to bed.
Yes. Although I did hear him come to bed. It was only about 10 minutes later.
Okay.
You can hear him coming up the stairs.
The stairs from which the front door is visible.
Correct.
Okay.
Those stairs. Those very stairs.
Those very stairs. And you heard him, but what you really heard, I'd like to be clear, was the clunking steps of a person going up the stairs.
I suppose that's
He
true.
didn't walk up the stairs going, "My name's PT, and I'm
No.
going to sleepy because
Okay.
I'm sleepy, PT." Did he?
Very well, I grant you that.
Look, I'm just making sure that we all understand when we're making assumptions and when we're making assumptions.
Fine.
And this was an
I
assumption.
heard the sound that
Of
sounded
footsteps.
very much like the familiar footsteps of the master of this house going up the stairs at 10:40 p.m.
I'm just saying, like, I don't want to get caught up later on where Danny's like, but they never saw him go to bed. I want to be sure that we're all on the same page.
And
But I'm
also,
still writing in my notes that he went to bed at 10:40.
character indignation is not necessarily my indignation.
Oh, I know. All right. Is there anything else I want to ask her? Francoise, has PT been... I know you only known him for a few weeks, but has he been acting strange lately, worried? Looking carefully around corners for shadows that might jump out and stab him?
I would agree with you there. Both him and Mrs. Renault. And I think it's pretty obvious as to why.
You think it's... Why?
Well, this Mrs. Dubroy business. He's been very clumsily hiding that for the last few weeks.
He has been attempting to hide it?
Well, I mean, surely.
You suspect it was an affair?
I don't like to use that word.
You suspect it was a dalliance?
But yes, Mrs. Renault has been, look, I don't even know if she knew, but I think she must have known subconsciously. They acted devoted to each other publicly when in the same room as each other, but you can see she has definitely been changing over time. He's become, yes, nervy.
Interesting. And did he ever confide in you a terrible secret that would lead to his death?
Not so much, no.
Worth checking?
Yes, we weren't on those terms.
I didn't think so. I just thought I'd check. Well, I think, Francois, thank you. What do you think, people at home? Is there anything else I should ask Francoise? I've asked her about the night before, the night after. I could ask her more. Like, I've got a little bit of the people involved. I know now about Madame Dubroy, that PT was kind of jumpy, that he definitely didn't go to bed at 10:40. He and his wife seem to be more colder in person than in public, and that he's been.
Wait, what?
Well, that they were very showy out, like that. Publicly they were quite showing of affection, but not so much
sure.
at home.
Okay.
Francois, I suppose I could ask quickly, do you know anything about the other servant, Leonie?
She's a bit dramatic, let's put it that way. She might try to show off a little.
Fair enough. And do you know at all why Mr. Renault sent his chauffeur away?
To my knowledge, he said he wasn't going to be driving. And I didn't see any reason that he would be.
That's fair. And have you met their son, Jack?
Yes, of course.
You would call him Jacques.
Of course.
I just know they've only been here for some time and he's been away for a few weeks.
Oh, that's true. The last 2 weeks or so was the last time I saw him, but he did spend a good deal of time here before that.
Okay. Nice boy?
Eh.
Okay, good.
He's a boy in his 20s. Ugh.
Well, I don't think I need anything.
Also, he barely speaks French.
Yes, we've been having this entire discussion in fluent French,
Yes.
by the way. Hastings speaks perfect French. He learned it on the battlefield. All right, well, thank you, Francoise. I'm sure I'll have some other questions later on when I realise I forgot to ask you something, but for now,
I'll be around.
I think before we finish this episode, I should get chatting with Leonie.
All right.
She better say something cool and cliffhanger at the end of her conversation.
No problem. Oh, yes, hello, I am Leonie.
You do sound dramatic.
What a terror. What a horrible morning I have had.
Fair. I mean,
Ask
look,
me anything at all. I'm an open book.
look, I will say, she sounds very dramatic, but you know what? Fair enough. I say, Leonie, tell me what happened this morning in gruesome detail.
It was miserable. You wouldn't believe. I thought the worst thing happening to me was spilling my own tea 3 days ago. My life has been perfect since then.
Why do you do this to me, Dani? Why do you have them say things with such strange specificity? I have to put in my notes that she spilled tea 3 days ago because in 2 hours, someone's going to be like, the
Oh,
only...
it's okay. I made that up anyway. I'm just trying to emphasize how perfectly my life was going.
Okay, good. Because I'm waiting for a poison that says the only symptom of the poison is shaky hands. And I'm meant to figure out she spilled her
I'm
tea.
just a local girl from the village, from a good family. I came here hoping for a nice job on a great area with a respectable family, equally as nice as my own. And this happens.
Okay.
I walked in the bedroom. I just had a feather dust. I was just gonna dust, and the room was all a mess, and the woman was on the floor. I pulled a gag out of her mouth, and she said there were 2 men, masks, and then she fainted dead away.
Okay, thank you.
I heard nothing through the night, by the way.
You
I
sleep
slept
in
soundly.
Do you sleep in the servants' quarters?
Mhm.
On the first floor landing?
Yes, that's right.
And you would say that you have good hearing.
Yes, exceptionally.
What about this? Can you hear this?
Easily.
I walk further away. What about this?
Okay, I feel like this isn't a good use of my time.
Okay, sorry. So you also, the two of you, and Francoise, you just sort of start dusting the house together in the mornings?
I mean, not together. We
split
have
up and
different
you-
areas
yeah.
that we've allocated for
Okay.
ourselves, but yes.
I don't know if I need to ask her a huge amount about the morning, because it seems fairly clear what happened.
Yeah.
She found the body. She found the
Yeah.
wife of the body.
Yeah, I agree.
And she was gagged, and she said, 2 men, masks, no!
Yep, you don't find any particular new information about that
So
discovery
let's
from her.
ask about last night. Leonie, I know what happened this morning, and it is a terrible tragedy, and one day you can write a book about it. But for now, what happened last night? Anything strange or different than normal last night?
Oh, yes, I answered the door last night.
To whom?
A young woman.
Was it, a young woman?
Yes.
Not Madame Dabroy.
Oh, no, that was the previous night. She came over the previous night. No, this was someone completely different. Look, not dissimilar, I suppose. She did also have the same sort of dark hair, but no, definitely younger. And I think she was English.
Wait, can I stop for a second?
Yes.
Just talk to Dani?
Mhm.
Jump out of that voice. Go. Wah!
Okay.
Didn't
Yeah.
Francois tell me that last night
Yes.
in his study,
Yes.
she was talking to Madame, he was
Yes.
talking to Madame Dabroy?
Yes, she
And
did.
that he saw her out?
Yes.
But now Leonie's saying that 2 nights ago was when Madame... What is going on? And that last night it was just a young woman.
Mhm.
Okay. But she opened the door, so maybe did Francois just assume that it was the same woman? That's weird. Okay, sorry. Back now, can you reanimate the body of Leonie and jump back in?
No!
Can you just quickly
Oh, God!
pull her collapsed carcass off the
This
floor
is very
and throw
strange,
and drop
but
your soul back
sure.
inside through her
Okay.
ears and then retake over her body, please?
Please.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I was under the impression it was Madame Dubreuil who was here last night. It was not. It was a young woman.
Yes, who told you that it was Madame Dubreuil? That's ridiculous.
Francoise.
Well,
Maybe she just assumed.
yeah, she's getting
Have
on
I
in years.
talked
I guess
to you-
she's forgetting
Have
things.
I told you yet about the difference
Maybe her
between...
eyesight is vanishing.
Oh, I didn't think to try and hold fingers up from different distances. God damn... Francoise! How many fingers am I holding up? Did she get it? I hold up 3 fingers above my head for Francoise.
She says, I told you that Leonie would show off with her perfect eyesight and all that.
Okay, can't say. I'm gonna put as a note of Francoise, blind. Done.
It was definitely her, and also Mr. Renaud and Mrs. Dubreuil also speaks English, so you can't just say, oh no, she was English, so it can't have been her. That doesn't work.
Okay,
And then Francoise leaves.
go away, Francoise. Okay, so Leonie, did you recognise this young woman?
No, not at all. Haven't seen her before.
Does she look like the woman who lives next door? Have you seen her?
What? Yeah, I mean, Madame Dubreuil.
No, Marta?
Oh, the daughter. No, nothing like that.
Oh, it wasn't Marta.
No, she's blonde.
I'm never going to want to write down Dubreuil.
Yeah.
D-A-U...
And also, once again, I'm pretty sure they started out speaking French from the little that I heard, but you could tell there was an accent. I'm pretty sure it was an English accent. And then they were speaking English when they came out.
And that was at 10:25 when she left?
I would say thereabouts, yes. That sounds right.
Do you know at all what they were speaking about? I know it's not good, and as a
Well-
servant you shouldn't repeat gossip, but if we want to save your life from the murderers who are going to come for you next,
Look,
you better tell me
do-
everything.
I don't like to brag, but I do know a little bit of English. And sometimes they talk too fast and I can't catch all of it. But right at the end, as they were coming out of the study, I did hear something. He was letting her out the door and he said, yes, but for God's sake, go now.
Yes, but for God's sake, he's used that phrase before when speaking to us, idiomatic, go now. Okay, hold on. I'll get back to that in a second. I'll ask you the same sorts of questions. Lately, has he been acting strange? Have you seen anything?
Oh, yes, incredibly. Almost as soon as he arrived here, he started going downhill. You know what it was?
What?
You know what it was? I bet this is why he came here in the first place. You know, he's had all these international dealings. It was the mafia. I've heard about them. You know, it's the 1920s now. They're making a big name for themselves. Guarantee it.
Dani, do I have to consider the mafia in this mystery, or is she just a ridiculous woman? I look at Poirot. Does he go, ugh, or does he go, ooh, and twiddle his little moustaches?
He curves his moustache into a frowny face.
Oh, okay, cool. So I'm not going to care about the mafia. She's just a freak. God, no, now the mafia. We're going to look at part 5 of this mystery. We're going to reveal that the mafia tried to shoot him 3 days ago, but they hit the handle of her teacup and she dropped it on the floor. God, I hate mysteries. All right. Okay. Thank you. Go home. I know you're already home, but leave me alone for a second. So, I've got 2 major goals right now. I want to examine the body, and now I'm on the hunt for a mystery woman. Solve This Murder is created by Bill Sunderland and Dani Siller as part of the Consume This Media network. To find out more about all of our shows, you can head to consumethismedia.com. If you want to try your hand at solving this murder yourself, send your current theory in to solvethismurderpod@gmail.com and you may end up on our wall of detectives.
If you enjoyed part 1 and you cannot wait another week for the next part and to see where this mystery concludes, our Patreon donors at www.patreon.com/consumethismedia will have all parts of this mystery available to them right now. So if you're the sort of person who enjoys binging and just needs to hear that answer, that's where you'll find it.
A special thank you to Jared, Devon and Whit from the podcast Advanced Sagebrush and Shootouts for creating our theme music. And thanks to all of you for listening.